Okay, fine thing about this movie first. So, when I went in the theater, no one was there. Next thing you know, a parent brings in two 7-year-olds and a 5-year-old girl to see the sequel to a horror movie called The Shining that has a naked witch in a bathtub and a dude axing someone in the heart. Well, these kids are scarred for life. Nice going, parents! Doctor Sleep, directed by Mike Flanagan and written by Mike Flanagan, stars Ewan McGregor and Rebecca Ferguson and is about Rebecca Ferguson hunting down kids like Danny who have The Shining, and Danny has to help out a kid, and stop Rebecca Ferguson from doing this to any more people. Look, I am a really, really big fan of The Shining. It's my favorite horror movie of all time. So I went in low expectations because Stanley Kubrick is director of The Shining. You can't top Kubrick. And this director, Mike Flanagan, he directed Haunting of Hill House, the really fantastic TV show. Go check that out on Netflix. And Shining while you're at it because it's fantastic also. But the way Kubrick directed The Shining, he took a different approach on horror. And that's why I liked it. It's not your average jump scares or murder scares. It's more of your psychological horror. That's why I love The Shining so much. That movie still scares me today. So I went in with low expectation because this director has to please the Stephen King fan and the Kubrick fans. And because King hated The Shining. So it's hard to please both. And I would say this dude pulled it off really, really well. Mike Flanagan once again proved that he can helm a horror movie. Let's talk about Ewan McGregor as Danny. He's fantastic. He plays Danny is a drunken alcoholic who's trying to come back in life and try and find a job and all that. And he plays him really well. He does. He's fantastic. This has been one of the best performances of the year next to Tony Stark's Iron Man. If not better than Tony Stark's Iron Man. He did really a great job. And then let's talk about Rebecca Ferguson as the villain. They've never focused on a villain this much in a horror movie ever. Because when you have your horror movies, they're always one noted. They're always on the side of the characters. You never get the perspective of the threat. And you do. You spend a lot of time in a lot of development. And you know her reasons are clear and you know why. She wants to feed on these people because they have to live. And yeah, she's awesome as a villain. She's freaking awesome. She's next to Thanos on the villains list. Whew, if she was an MCU villain, I'd be like, Oscar, please. And let's talk about the main girl in this movie who has the same power as Danny Torrance. She's fantastic. One of the best child performances this year by far. She brings a lot of emotion and brilliance to the movie, and I love it. I loved her character. So let's talk about the cinematography, because I freaking love the cinematography as well, because the movie looks beautiful. It does. It looks exactly like The Shining. He pulled it off fantastic. And it's really amazing. So, people are talking about this. How is it to interact with The Shining? How is it a follow-up to The Shining? Well, this isn't a spoiler because it showed up in the trailer. They go back to the hotel, and it's not a shove in your face nostalgia thing like Jurassic World did with the T-Rex, or what I'm thinking of a movie. It's just not in your face nostalgia. It's not shoving it in your face being like nostalgia, nostalgia, nostalgia. No. They have a reason for going there. They have a purpose for going there. And the hotel is integrated really, really well in this movie. I felt goosebumps going back there. And I'm like, yes, I clapped in the theater when they played the Shining theme. And it was fantastic. It's really fantastic. And let's talk about the horror aspect of this movie. I loved it. Some people may hate it. Some people may not like it. Because it's how you perceive the horror aspect. How we perceive horror. And people fill their heads up with teen horror slasher things. Or jumpy, scary horror. Guess what? It's not that, people. It's slower. You spend time with the characters. That's why I love The Shining so much. They spend time with the characters. Sure, it's slow. Wasn't The Shining slow too? Because you're spending time with characters and getting them interact. That's why I love this movie. And the horror is more psychological as well. And there's... It's not your jump scare movie. You're not going to get that. It's more of psychological horror, and people aren't going to like that. I'll understand that, but I love it. I really love it. That's what The Haunting of Hill House did, psychological horror. And it's really fantastic. And nowadays in Hollywood, people just are going to perceive it as, oh, this is boring. Because you're spending time with the characters. It's not like your big Hollywood blockbuster, giant robots, or superheroes, or freaking Star Wars, or any of that stuff. It's not that. This is different. It's in depth. It's psychological. It's just, in its own mind, fantastic. I love it. You may not like it because it's called character development, but I like it. Overall, guys, Dr. Sleep, it's fantastic. I love this movie. I really recommend it. It's long. It's as long as The Shining, which people aren't going to like. And there's several callbacks in The Shining, which are handled really well. And Mike Flanagan knocked it out of the ballpark, like 8 ballparks away, scored several touchdowns. It was a blowout. And overall, guys, I'm going to give Dr. Sleep an A+. Also, another thing which I like about this movie, they don't call it The Shininger or The Shiningist or The Shining 2. It's called Dr. Sleep, which is the actual book title. You don't have that in movies nowadays. Guys, go check out The Shining. This is the year for movies. It truly is. This movie will blow your mind if you're into this psychological horror or just are a big fan of The Shining. Go check it out. I want to support this movie as much as possible. But yeah, that's all for this time. Punch that like button in the face like boss. See you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!